Just a little warning for the beginning of this video. I'm not gonna really concern myself with spoilers for the movie, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you probably shouldn't watch it. The Superman movie is out, and it was pretty interesting.
Are you sure?
But seriously, it was a pretty good movie. From the script, to the acting, to the cinematography even, it was a pretty solid movie overall. Easily one of the best parts of this movie are the characters, especially Superman. We see his struggle of having to deal with very real-world politics while also being a superhero and feeling compelled to save people. He has realities about who he's supposed to be and who his parents wanted him to be challenged. He finds out that his birth parents sent him to Earth so he could conquer it, not so he could be some helpful savior. And it's a very hard thing for him to hear. One of the few things that he has that still reminds him of his birth parents and comforts him has now been twisted. And once I saw this, I knew that he was probably going to have a conversation with his adoptive parents and that they would help him understand that it doesn't shape who he is and everything. And that is what happened, but just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, and it still felt like a very strong scene. And there are lots of really strong moments like that all around the movie. His relationship with Lois and the other heroes and even Lex are all very interesting and strong. Also, there's a lot of really good action in this movie. Superman's fights with Ultraman are really cool. The sort of chase scene they have when he's in the Pocket Universe with Metamorpho. The Justice Gang fighting through an army near the end of the movie. There's a lot of really cool, really fun stuff. Especially them fighting through the army, because you get to see just how powerful these heroes are compared to regular people. Speaking of Lex, I also like that one of the twists at the end of the movie is that a lot of the shit he's been doing the whole time was just to fuck with Superman. Like, they spend part of the movie trying to figure out like what the hell his motivations are, and then you find out he literally just fucking hates Superman. That's it. And I liked that. And when you see how he's interacting with Superman at the end of the movie when Superman's winning, you can tell this motherfucker hates him. Kudos to Nicholas Hoult on his performance, by the way. In terms of criticisms, there are some moments where I felt like the CG could have been better. Like, there are parts where we get these zoom-ins on Superman's logo and I can tell it looks a little weird. There's also a little speech Superman gives at the end of the movie, and it's like good, but it's a little preachy, and I feel like there are better Superman speeches I've heard before. Also, the twist of Ultraman secretly being a clone of Superman felt a little random. It wasn't bad, I guess, but it just felt a little out of nowhere and not really necessary to any of the themes or anything in the narrative. And there are probably a couple of other things in the movie that could have been stronger, but they didn't bother me enough for me to remember them as much, so I'm just gonna say that's it. This was a pretty solid movie, and if you like superheroes, you should probably go check it out. And even if you don't, I'd still suggest you check it out. I'm gonna give this one a 8 out of 10. Have a good day.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I killed a hooker. She made a crack about me being faster than a speeding bullet, so I ripped her in half like a phone book.
Wow, wow, whoa. Fantastic Four is out, and it was a pretty good. It was pretty good. Right off the bat, I just gotta say I liked the world that they created for this movie. The production design was really good. The retro yet futuristic feel they went for in this movie was really cool, actually. The characters themselves were pretty strong for the most part, especially Johnny and Ben. Their interactions with each other were always fun, especially their bickering. Little things like that always help contribute to making it feel more like a family and people who have known each other for a very long time. I will say, even though I think Sue was pretty good most of the time, her actress could be a little overacting at times, it felt like. Like, does that make sense? Like, when it feels like an actor is just trying a little too hard? Like, maybe you should pull it back a little bit. That's how Vanessa Kirby felt to me. Besides that, most of the performances were usually pretty solid and even really good. The story itself has pretty fast pacing. You're moving from one thing to the next pretty quickly, which honestly, most of the time I was okay with. There were some moments where I felt like we could have maybe slowed down a bit and given the audience a bit to breathe. I think the action for the most part in the movie was pretty good. It wasn't anything amazing, but I felt like it all did pretty well. I do think there were some parts with the CGI where things looked a little weird. Silver Surfer looked pretty CGI-ish, which I kind of understand because Silver Surfer kind of seems like a character that's hard to make look right in real life. So I kind of get it, but it's still like, come on, she looks kind of fake. Galactus I thought looked pretty cool, except he always looked so dark in the movie, which again, I think was to cover up that he was CGI. It made sense when you first meet him because he's like sitting back in the shadows so you can't see him as much. But then when he comes to Earth and he's in broad daylight, he's like still all dark, and it's like, dude, you're standing in the middle of the it's broad fucking daylight out. Well, we got a motherfucker that look blacker than the night right here. But besides that, I don't have much to say about the movie. It's not the most memorable thing in the world, but there are cool parts to it, and I think it's pretty good for what it does well. So overall, I'm gonna give it a 6 or 7. I'll be nice. I'll say 7 out of 10. Maybe on a rewatch it would go down to a 6. We'd have to see, but I'll say 7 for now.